Welcome to Marketing Monday. Today's topic, 20 or so trends that are changing the world right now. Let's start off by talking about everybody's favorite Lex Luthor impersonator, Jeff Bezos. So Jeff Bezos, back on the left here before he became this guy, was a 30-year-old Wall Street employee. He had a document land on his desk, and the document said the following. He came across the fact that the World Wide Web was growing at 2,300% a year. I decided to come up with a business idea where the internet could grow around it. Basically, in life, almost everybody kind of averages out to around a middle level of performance. And if you are a 65, 75 performer out of 100, but you're in an industry that's growing, if you have a wind behind you instead of against you, you're going to see a lot of easier paths. Things are going to do better. Your personal performance only matters as part of the equation, and a lot more of it is larger trends. So being on a good trend helps. And Jeff Bezos got in on the biggest trend of his lifetime, the growth of the internet, and Amazon became like the third biggest company in the world. So he's got a hockey stick rule. If a trend is growing exponentially like a hockey stick, it's worth spending at least 5 hours understanding it. Now, none of us, myself included, wants to spend 5 hours on anything but Elden Ring. We don't got time for that. So instead of 5 hours, I'm going to give you like 20 seconds and do a bunch of them. And that way we can all end up like this. Let's start with a trend that's happening right now. I wanted to pick one that's relevant to all of us here, and that is the rise of esports. In 1998, the biggest prize pool in the world of esports was Quake 2 for $34,000 is their total prize pool. So all in all, for all esports in the world in 98, basically there was less than 70K than what like an accountant might make in Idaho, over a year. That's if you won every tournament in every game. By 2003, there's $3.3 million. Okay, it's already gotten bigger. Counter-Strike became the first game to pass $1 million in prize pool. All of this is highly correlated with viewership. As viewership goes up, the prize pool goes up. Now we're in 2008. Some of you are even starting to be born. And then right around here, 2011 is when StarCraft 2 kicked off the beginning of the modern esports era. And then League of Legends, Dota 2. Boom! If you won every tournament in every game ever from the beginning of time through 2003, you would have made $3 million. Now, Dota 2 alone has $153 million by 2018. Fortnite! Amoga! No. And now we're here in 2021, actually 2022, and we have passed I think it's $1 billion. And so if you are somebody interested in the esports industry, whether it's as a player, which is, I think, the worst job to be unless you're absolutely generationally great, all of the supporting parts of it, commentator, it's a rising industry. Let me show you another one. Boom. The cost of sequencing a human genome has dropped dramatically, 100,000% since 2001. It used to cost $100 million. Now you can do it for less than 1,000. As this continues to drop, a lot of things in society are going to be possible that weren't before. Some of them scary. Employers could demand a DNA check and see if you have genes that make you more likely to be, I don't know, an absentee employee, an unreliable employee, et cetera, et cetera. But there's also major health breakthroughs. There's benefits and downsides. Boom, next. College tuition has outpaced how much people earn by about 10x, which means every single year, universities get more and more expensive. Now, this is obviously a negative thing by any metric, but it also represents opportunity. There has never been a better time for a disruption to education. Lots and lots of education-based startups are being funded right now because the gap between what people need to get and the cost of it has never been higher. If you are someone who's interested in disrupting the higher education and finding a way around the university system, there's never been a better time. There's never been a more needed opportunity. Here's another one. Cybersecurity is getting more and more and more important. It's an exponential increase because the risk of getting hacked is now incredibly high and the damage is incredibly bad for your company, which means somebody who works in cybersecurity or has cybersecurity solutions is getting more and more valuable. Here's an example. This is a browser called Island. It's basically just Chrome. And yet it's worth 1.3 billion. Why is this startup worth 1.3 billion when they just basically just ripped Chrome? Because it is an employer-only browser that like prevents you from going anywhere you could be hacked and doesn't hold any user data. And they're basically just selling it to corporations who can install it on their computers so their employees can't get hacked. These guys were not particularly genius, okay? They're not the greatest coders of all time. They're just in a growing industry, and being in industries like that is a free cheat card. Continuing, let's go fast. You're all virgins. The decline in sex is rampant among both men and women, but especially among young men. But this is a serious problem, and it is leading to a lot of negative societal outcomes. Massive right now. I actually have a video on it if you want to watch it. It's called The New Dating Economy. If you want to check it out, I think I have a pretty nuanced take on that. I can't do it all here. This is absolutely a tailwind for someone interested in working in this industry or figuring out this problem or doing deeper research on it, because it is a trend that's not going away. Next, this one is just kind of scary, but again, there are opportunities and there are bad parts. That is, of course, the rise in the global average surface temperature. The hottest years ever in history. 19 of them were in the last 20 years. Now, let's counterpoint that, though. Some things are rising up to present an opportunity in that. And that is the cost of solar, for example, has dropped by a factor of 10. As you can see here, it used to cost way, way more per kilowatt. It is now way, way cheaper and heading lower. If you're in a low-cost location, like, say, Arizona, they're already cheaper than currently built fossil power plants. By 2030, even medium-cost electricity will be cheaper. Now, is this fast enough? I'm not sure, but it presents opportunity. The price of batteries has fallen exponentially, similar to Jeff Bezos' internet stat. This has led to many opportunities if you're interested in battery technology. Battery maker CATL is a company that is actually the biggest company after 10 years ever, or the fastest growing company after 10 years ever in the history of companies. People that know a lot about battery technology are extremely valuable. China is making massive investments in being the one that supplies and builds batteries because of how important it is for the global supply chain in the future. Here's one that is relevant to me specifically. People are sleeping worse than ever before. In 1942, over 8 hours of sleep was the average norm across the entire country. And now they're getting closer to 6. Sleep aids are at all-time high in valuation. People are desperate for solutions for their bad sleep. If you are somebody who thinks to have a solution for people's bad sleep, you are in a growing industry, something that's going to be very important for years to come. Do your part and stream earlier. It's kind of, yeah, I mean, I'm not helping any of my East Coast viewers right now. My UK folks are completely screwed. Here's another one. Electronics as a percentage of total car costs. This might not seem like an interesting stat, but it is. In 1970, the majority of a car was non-electronic. By 2030, about half of the car is going to be electronics. And what that means is people that design for the future of cars are primarily going to be more and more oriented around the tech rather than design. And that is why you might see this. The Apple car is almost all but confirmed because the future of cars is in some way self-driving, and 100% where people will spend a lot of time basically using apps. When the smartphone was first released, the first people that made the simplest apps like Fruit Ninja made absolute billions. Whoever designs a great app for commuting is going to make billions. Speaking of which, commutes are at all-time highs. This ties right into that. Commutes are at all-time highs. This had a slight alleviation during the pandemic, but as people go back to work, this trend has continued. People used to live a lot closer to work, but as the rising rents and rising costs for people to live farther and farther from where they work, two trends are becoming massive. One is remote work, and then others is very long commutes. I mean, the great solution would be infrastructure, but the Build Back Better plan got completely canned, and that wasn't even going far enough. In America, we need public rail. We need a lot of things. The work from home sort of quote unquote revolution has led to 62.4 million fewer commuting hours per workday during the pandemic. That's an aggregate time of more than 9 billion hours. People literally are getting massive portions of their life and day back because of work from home, and they are not going to want to give that up without a fight, which means remote work stuff is here to stay, at least for some portion of the public, permanently. Here's a really interesting one that I didn't know about. Lab-grown meat has become extremely affordable. Now, there's a lot of work to be done, I'm sure, on taste, but eventually, they'll be able to create sustainable lab-grown meat at massive scale. And if they can solve the taste issue, it's actually a massive benefit to the environment. A huge amount of our methane emissions come from cows. It's like over a third. And so finding ways to do lab-grown meat is actually going to be a fantastic solution for a populace that will not go vegetarian. I think trying to imply that everyone's going to go vegetarian is absurd. Nobody wants to be like Nathan Stans. People that are investing in this and people that have knowledge in this are going to be extremely valuable. Speaking of this, I talked about this earlier with the virginity thing, but actually, in fact, fertility is dropping dramatically. People are literally just having fewer children, and it's leading to a massive demographic crisis. You need to have a lot more healthy working age people than you do old people, which we barely have right now. As millennials begin to age, the demographic stuff is falling off a cliff. It's absolutely insane to me that people think that closing off immigration will benefit the country we're in at all. It, in fact, is extremely damaging to the economy. Reduces the number of business founded, reduces the number of jobs created. It's just extremely short-sighted. For the rare countries that actually have immigrants that want to show up, which is like the United States, it's basically a free cheat code to beat these demographic cliffs, and we're not using it, and it's actually crazy. We're basically at like a zero net replacement right now. It's like people are dying almost as fast as they're being born or immigrating in. Here is a stat that backs that up. This is the number of people that are age 65 and over. If you think we have a lot of boomers now, wait till 2060. Wait till I'm actually a boomer, not just a Twitch boomer. I'm going to be so annoying. I'm going to have so much money. I'm going to be so annoying. I'm going to be causing so many problems. Here is some good news. The drop in global absolute poverty is massive. Generally, the global population is rising out of poverty. That is a true stat that has been going on for a long time. The number of people living on dollars per day is decreasing. Now, as they enter into a global middle or lower class, we still have a vast majority of wealth being sucked up by a very minuscule amount of people at the top, but we are eliminating the most extremes of poverty. And that is truth, and it's something to be celebrated, and it's very interesting. Phone use is going up dramatically. I think you guys all are aware of this because you see my comments on YouTube where I say, remember this, when no one had their phones. On average, we pick up our phones 58 times per day, and it is increasing. About 3 hours, 50 minutes a day on our phones, which is a trend that has been acceleratingly increasing over the past 15 to 20 years. Anything built for mobile use is seeing dramatic tailwinds. It's doing quite well. Boom! Space. Some of the stats we've talked about today are a little bit otherworldly. This one is literally otherworldly. The cost to launch something into space has gone down 10x, and it's continuing to decline. It is extremely feasible that within our lifetimes, space travel and space-based mineral mining or transportation will be extremely more feasible. People that are interested in this future will see a lot of potential. This is AI, and this was one of the scariest ones, the one that I understand probably the least. But the depth and number of parameters in these AI models has increased exponentially, and it is going to lead to all sorts of things. This is probably the biggest impact and the one that I'm least comfortable predicting. All I know is that AI is a massive, massive force that is going to change so many things in our lives. The ability of computers to use high-powered neural networks to solve things that humans were able to do, but slowly or not able to do at all, extremely quickly and at scale, is going to change so many industries. I'm not even comfortable predicting it. I mean, listen, if you're looking for a job, if you learn about AI, you will make money. I know that from just being at NVIDIA. It has potential to be like a complete unlock of resources for humanity to enjoy a golden age of prosperity, and it has the potential to be a dystopia. And we really don't have any idea. Even if you're not going to work in any one of those industries, you can still see price appreciation and value appreciation by investing in those industries. And that's why I want to shout out today's sponsor, Public.com. It is similar to an investment app you may know. It has an extremely clean, easy to use interface. What makes it different is that it does not sell information on your trades to hedge funds. They also allow you to invest in fractional shares. You can also invest very small amounts and just test your investment skill, which is a great way to just practice. You can also follow people. You can follow me on that app and see what I'm investing in. You can follow many other creators or business people. Hopefully you can follow Nancy Pelosi because she seems to get all her trades right. And most importantly, if you sign up using my code in the link below, go to public.com/Atrioc, you can get up to $300 in free stock. I myself got a share of Facebook that then became Meta and then declined 50%, but it was free. So I still made like $150. This one is relevant to us right here, right now. This is media use. And it turns out that the average adult, or child in your case, is watching a lot more digital media than traditional television. Television is dying. And this includes all adults. If you go by age, this orange bar is in the gutter. People your age aren't watching TV at all. TV Omega Low. Places like Twitch are seeing massive growth. And so people that are creators for the digital economy, YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, are all seeing massive free growth. It's like every creator on Twitch did not get better when the pandemic happened, but they got richer because people watched more Twitch. They didn't do anything better. Twitch has made dumb decision after dumb decision, but everything keeps going up. If you have a tailwind, it's hard to fuck up. The number of online digital creators who make actual money from what they do is at all-time highs, and it's growing exponentially. The future of work looks way more decentralized. And that leads you to me, because I'm riding those tailwinds right now. I work at NVIDIA and I'm creating. And that is why I hope you liked this Marketing Monday.